I knew that there was something wrong with the church. I felt it in my body, in my bones. I knew that this was not for me. Uh, Being raised Mormon, I was taught that you are to stay pure. You are to get married to a return missionary in the Mormon temple. And then you start having lots and lots of kids. And you do all of this at a very young age. And I just knew that's not what I wanted to do. When I was in high school, I started having sex with my boyfriend. Um, and that's a whole nother video that I will talk about. But I got married. I was 17. I was a senior in high school, and my parents married me off. They had a lot of shame about me having sex, and so I got married, which lasted 6 months. So I graduated high school. I graduated from Mormon seminary, married. Um, and it came to a point where I was like, oh my gosh, this is just not what I want. I had my parents that were like, go to church, go to church. You need to make things right with the Lord. And then I was, in a marriage with a guy that didn't want to be married either, that we were both forced into. And he wanted to move to East Texas and live by his family. And I was like, I just envisioned having lots of kids and being miserable for the next 20 years. And I was like, I can't do this. And my parents supported me in getting a divorce because he wasn't Mormon. And he had promised my parents that, yeah, I will convert, we'll get married in the temple. And he didn't do that. And so they're like, well, we support you in getting a divorce. So I felt that I had permission to leave him and to get married, or to not leave that life of misery. So from 18 to 25, I am just like bouncing back and forth, back and forth. I went to several different colleges, universities. I was partying. That was a mess, right? And then in between that, I'm like, oh, I gotta go to church. But I'm like smoking a cigarette and then walking into sacrament meeting. So it was just weird, right? Um, and then it came to a point about 25, which is interesting because that's when your brain finally forms, that I realized, oh no, this is total BS. I am not going to be part of this church anymore. Um, but I continue to stay small, not to stick up for myself when my parents and my older siblings talked about the church. So they talked negatively about gay people. And my mother one time told me, I said that I was going to an ethics training. She's like, well, if people just went to church, then you wouldn't have to take ethics. Okay. Well, I don't think it's ethical to talk negatively about gay people and deny human rights. So it's all perspective, right? So I'm looking at some notes that I made. It's the BITE model. Dr. Stephen Hassan created this, and I had just listened to his audiobook. I mean, pretty recent, a few years ago, and it finally gave me the language that I needed, that my intuition had already known. So he starts off saying that, so the bite model is behavior, information, thought, and emotions. Um, so this is how uh, the Mormon Church, LDS Church, controls. And this is the criteria for a cult. So behavior control, they regulate your daily routine, sleep, diet, and clothing. Uh, I mean, as a kid, I couldn't even drink Burke's root beer because it had caffeine in it, right? So I had to hide drinking soda. You can't go into the Mormon temple if you drink, smoke, have coffee. So if you drink coffee, you can't go to the temple. And if you don't go to the temple, you can't go to heaven. And then your family is not able to be eternal and you can't be together. Yikes. Another way that cults control behavior is discouraging independent decision making. I was told that the patriarch, all decisions are placed by the patriarch of the family. I didn't even know what patriarch meant until I was an adult. I didn't even know what misogyny meant until I was in my 20s. So it's the, men control everything. They make decisions of the family and the bishop. Any issue happens, you go talk to the bishop. If you deviate anyway from a straight relationship, then you can't go to the temple, you can't, and you can't have an eternal family. So everything was scheduled for me. So my family is told, my parents are told by the prophet, or I think it's 12 apostles. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in the church. But they're all white men in the 90s. So I went to church in the 90s. And apparently things have evolved somewhat. I think it's just all a PR stunt to get people to remain in the church. So I wasn't even supposed to have like a second ear piercing. Like that was like really bad to do. So going back to information control, I was raised in a household where we can only listen to church music on Sundays. And then when we became, which was just really annoying, it's like the Mormon Tabernacle Choir every Sunday. It was a nightmare. And then when we were teenagers, we thought my mom was really cool because, it was breakfast with the Beatles. So I always thought it was kind of funny that, we're listening to the Beatles, but, we're only supposed to listen to Mormon approved music. And Lucy and this guy with diamonds, like, and then going to sacrament meeting. It's kind of funny. Another way cults control information is discouraging access to outside resources. So when I was listening to Dr. Hassan's book, I was like, oh my gosh, I am bad for this is anti-literature, anti-Mormon literature. I'm not supposed to listen to this. I'm not supposed to know this, right? So in the 90s, when I was, in high school, we didn't have social media, so I didn't know that I didn't know that this wasn't normal, right? Uh, so the Mormon Church distorts information. misrepresents information, I feel like they're gaslighting. And it's like, oh, uh, doctrine changes, like in the 70s. Oh, Black people can have the priesthood now. And now it's okay to be gay. You just can't have sex. You have to. What did my mother say? You still have to be chaste. So that's a new PR shift, but it's still a way to shame people into obedience. Ooh, this is a big one. Spying and reporting on members. Yikes. Um, I remember my sister telling me that when she was at BYU, she like ratted out her roommate because her roommate was getting a back massage, or they were alone in her room, something like that. Um, so my sister told the people, and her roommate got in trouble. Wow. So there's no discussion on healthy relationships, healthy sexual relationships, and say, we're young, we have hormones, so we need to talk about consent, and what that looks like, not just abstinence. So thought control. Oh man, it's these ingrained beliefs are just so intense. Um, I still have when I hear somebody say, "Oh, like um, a hetero relationship," and the woman goes out and works, and the man stays at home and takes care of the children. My initial thought is like, "Oh my God, he needs to go get a job, provide for his family. I can't believe he's not doing that." It's just still there. I don't believe that. And it's just mind control. That's what's so ingrained. Um, that is a woman's role. You are to get married. You have children, and you obey your husband. Yikes. Um, any sense of critical thinking is thrown out the window. If you question the church, it's something's wrong with me. Oh, I don't have enough faith, or oh, you just want to go sin. Okay. Um, and then, so we done behavior. I'm looking at my notes. Behavior, um, thought control. I miss my behavior, information, thoughts, and then emotions. Guilt and shame definitely has just is it's a way to control. For me, it was sex. So I had premarital sex in high school, and I had so much shame about that, letting my parents down because I'm going to be the missing link in their eternal family. So even before I was born, my parents had plotted out my life for me, right? Had already thought, oh, right, you stay in the Mormon church, you follow all the principles, you get married, you have kids, and you do the same thing to them. And I chose not to do that. Um, I truly believe that this creates a sense of codependency, especially among women, that women's intuition, thoughts, feelings don't matter. And it's it's up to the man to make the decision. So self-worth is tied into obedience. And so it's compliance. It's not that I truly wanted to, or growing up, it's hard to decipher if it's the Mormon church or if it was my parents, because both are dysfunctional. I didn't want to say the Mormon church was a cult because I've had some amazing discussions with my parents. I wrote my memoir, um, Drowning in Doctrine, a counselor redefining family after religious trauma. And my parents read it and they were kind. My dad texted me, said, "You've been through a lot. I'm glad that you found healing." Okay. My mom said, "I'm sorry. I wish I would have been a better mother." Okay. Um, and my brother, on the other hand, became verbally abusive towards me. So I cut him off. I'm at a place right now where I don't I don't need approval. But today, after writing this book, talking to my family members and saying, "Hey, what was your take on this situation?" And so there are 6 kids in the family. 4 of us are not Mormon, and then my brother and 1 sister are in the church. Cool. You do whatever want, but don't push it on me. Um, so my brother was really upset at me because I did a podcast and I had talked about sex, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know sex could be pleasurable for women until, like 25. I'm like, oh, or early 20s. I'm like, oh, you can have orgasms. And he was so offended by that. And I'm like, wow, if you're offended by me talking about a healthy sex life, about a healthy relationships, that's the problem with the Mormon church. So this book, the bite model, just gave me vocabulary that I craved for years. I just didn't I didn't know how to like intellectualize it. I knew it in my heart, I knew it in my body. I knew that I needed to put up boundaries and save myself from this.